ಕೆರೆದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಕೆರೆದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ 62 ಅದು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದು ಆ ಕೆರೆ ಆವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹುಡುಗ ಇದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ, 1 ವರ್ಷ ಮಗು, ಆವಾಗ ಅದು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮೀನಿತ್ತು, ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಮೀನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ರಾಮ ಭೀಮಗ ನಾಮ ಭೀಮ ಯಾವನೋ ಇದ್ದ ಮಚ್ಚಿ. ಅಲ್ಸೂರು ಕೆರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮೀನಿತ್ತು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಗಿ. ಅದೇನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಅದು ಹುಡುಗಿ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಅದು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಮಗ. ಅದು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಮೀನು ಸಿಕ್ಕಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೀನೆಲ್ಲ ತಿಂದರು, ಆ ಒಂದು ಮೀನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಸಿಕ್ಕಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಗಾಲ ಹಾಕಿ ಜಾಲರ ಹಾಕಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದ್ರು ಆ ಮೀನು ವಾಸನೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Culture, tradition and myth is an everyday routine with its roots in past orders and landscapes. The mud tank in Bangalore is no different. On a quick recce of the surrounding erstwhile mud tank area, we chanced upon the forgotten myth of the forgotten lake. The people who had lived through the life and death of the tank still recall the myth with much humor and subtle pride of ownership over an urban legend. What this also explores is the coagulatory relationship between people, landscapes and the ever-evolving story of the city. The myth of the mud tank. It is believed that God himself created 2 godly fish, one male and one female, that were dropped into a lake in Bangalore, what we know as Alsur Lake today, and upon doing so, hoped that they would make it and call it their home. It is also believed that these godly fish were not to be visible to the normal human eye. Having now been put into the lake, the fish took their beautiful and peaceful environs and happily made it their home. But things did not remain as happy and peaceful for long. One fateful day, a storm was said to have struck the area, and with great might and power, disrupting everything that lived in the lake and its surrounding areas. The fish were also not spared the horror, and were believed to be torn apart from each other by the storm. As the storm moved on, the devastation was huge. As things finally calmed down, the male fish was left to himself alone in Alsur Lake, and the female fish was washed away to his mud tank and found herself lonely and lost. Torn apart, they had no idea what they could do to be together again, and spent days and nights pining over this calamity. The mud tank had a watchman, a recluse, usually drunk, who spoke to the water for hours at night, usually in a state of intoxication, overwhelmingly dejected with a life of poverty and social stigma. One such night, he saw something move in the water near him. "What's that?" he yelled. He could see the fish. She resurfaced again. "You can see me?" she asked. "You can talk?" he exclaimed. They spoke for long, of each other's sorrows. The fish explained her pained parting, and the watchman promised to help her out, and decided to go to Alsur Lake to check on the male fish. The next morning, the watchman landed up in Alsur Lake, as he believed the episode last night may have been a figment of his imagination in his intoxicated state. On calling out for the male fish, he finally did appear and share the same story of parting and agony. Now convinced, the watchman decided to unite the 2 fish by bringing the female fish back to Alsur. Back on the banks of the mud tank, at the Kere Munishwar temple, the watchman spoke to some God-fearing people of the area about what he had seen and heard, and convinced them to allow him to take the female fish from here to Alsur, as the godly fish were meant to be together. While they tried to figure out how to carry out this task, they heard a voice. "Dey, I know how we can do this. It was the local money lender. He said he believed this was a godly fish and would do anything to carry out God's will. He suggested to partly fill up the tank to allow an overflow into Alsur Lake, for which he would construct a channel. The people readily agreed to his proposal. On hearing this, the watchman sensed trouble and figured he would share this with the female fish that night. The watchman narrated the plan to the female fish. She rejected the plan at once. She saw this as an evil device to kill the tank. The watchman shared his fears and doubted the intentions of the landlord. They both concluded the exercise to fill up the tank and construct a channel would only lead to more devastation. Relocate to Alsur Lake required a big enough container, some means of transport, and just a few good-intentioned people. The female fish warned the watchman of dire consequences if the plan went ahead. The watchman bid farewell to the fish with a promise to stop the sinister plan. The next morning, the landlord was already on the job and took the help of the people, blinded by faith and who knew no better. The watchman tried to convince them that this was the wrong solution. The lake would die and they would never find the fish. The people continued to fill the tank and didn't heed his warnings. Of what was left of the lake, he tried that night to call out to the female fish, to devise a way in which he could do it on his own. But there was no fish in sight. He called out for her all night, but got no response. With every faint call, his fears grew, and he knew that he may never see his friend again. Once the tank was filled, and the people could not find the fish, the landlord in turn accused the watchman of being a liar and disillusioned drunk. He said that no one could ever talk to a fish, and even if this was true, there were no godly fish to be found. When the watchman tried to argue that not everyone would see and communicate with the fish, his pleas fell on deaf ears. Dejected and not being able to convince anyone, he was asked to leave the premise. The stories of the mud tank, its survival and death, are long forgotten, and the scene is no different even